afternoon. I am recording a tutorial on how to make this crocheted granny square. At Lake Erie Mercantile, we are starting a CAL 1 year long. So this is the main block that makes up the whole entire blanket. And I'm going to show you how to put it together. With the coronavirus and everything going on, I wanted to be able to let everybody that would like to join, and this gives everybody an option on how to do it at home a little bit easier and feel like they have some help. So what I like to do is a magic circle. So the tail goes down, you wrap it around and make an X, and then you turn your hand over and pinch it so it stays. You go underneath the first one, grab the second one. Oop, let's try that again. Round and pinch. Go underneath the first one, grab the second one and twist it up. Okay, so you're working with the working yarn, not the tail, and you're going to do a slip knot. Okay, when you drop it, you're going to be working over the circle and the tail so that you're weaving in the ends as you go. This is the block that is going to be through the whole entire video. I will put a link down below and maybe even put it on the screen where the free block came from, and that way the one that started this, the lady that made this pattern, can get the credit for it. So what happens is you start off in the center with a magic ring, and you are going to, oops, let's do it this way. You're gonna start off with your magic ring, and then you're going to do the inner circle first, and then the second one, third one, and then end on a fourth row. And you're going to be flipping back and forth. That way you only have the two beginning yarn ends, and once you get to the end, you'll have two yarn ends, obviously one on this side and one on this side, so 4 total. You'll have to weave in, but I think it's just all about the enjoyment of seeing the blocks finished. So I'm pretty excited to see how all this goes.
With our crochet along, the Gray Days by this Grafter That is going to be the main color. So our ladies with the CAL will get 1 full skein on Tuesday and 1 mini skein. And each month you'll get additional mini skeins, and you will get 5 total blocks out of using the full skein and the mini skein. So you use up this whole entire mini skein and get 5 blocks, and obviously you'll get more out of this one. I believe at least 25 blocks, because you're going to be making 100 total, which I just think it's a lot of fun. So I'm going to try and get going, and hopefully this helps. Yeah, hopefully this helps.
Again, we're going to start off with the main color. Find the end here. So a magic circle, I put the tail down first, you wrap around, and notice how much tail I'm using, because this block is going to be, or this full skein of Gray Days is going to be cut and used quite a bit, so you just don't want a whole lot of leftovers. So you wrap it, or I'll do that again. So you have the tail here, wrap up and over, make an X, and you turn your hand over. So you're going to go underneath the tail, grab the working yarn, and you're going to spin it. Okay, and then this is the working yarn here, the tail's down at the bottom. All you're going to do is hook that and pull it through to secure it. So now you can let go with the left hand, because it makes a nice circle and it's secure. So we're going to double crochet over top of the tail and the circle. So every single block is going to be the same. The only thing that changes is the contrasting color. So we're going to chain 3, and then we're going to work 2 double crochets, because the chain counts as the first one. So 1, 2, and then 3. Now we are going to turn, so we're going to chain 2. And then we are going to do our next 3 double crochets into the circle. 1 and a 2 and a 3. So that is 2 sides of the block. We need to turn, so chain 2 again. I like to tighten that up a little bit so it's not so flimsy. So now that we chain 2, we need to switch to the contrasting color. So we have, let me get this oriented to be the same. So we've done this part and this part. Now we're going to do here and here. So we're going to find the end, loop it over, and we're just going to pull it through the loop on the hook, pull the gray tight, and I'm just going to bring it up and behind me so I forget about it. So notice again how much tail I have. That way we can utilize as much of the blue as possible. And I'm going to lay that right on top of the other 2 that I crochet over top. So it'll be 3 that we're crocheting over top. So now we need to do the next 3 double crochets. So into the circle, there's 1, there's 2, and 3. Okay, now we need to turn, so we need to do 2 chains, and we're going to complete the side with 3 more double crochets. 1, 2, whoops, 2. Make sure I'm going over all 3 of them, and 3. So we need to connect the last 3 with the first 3, but we also need to have it turn. So we're going to chain 2 to turn it and then connect it to there. So I'm going to pull the gray and secure that nice and tight. No hole. All right, so we have our chain 2. Whoop. Now I'm going to connect it to the top of the chain 3. So you can see there's your first double crochet right there. That's the top of the double crochet. You don't want to go into that stitch because that's going to bring it too far over this way. So here's the chain. You see the last little loop right there. So that's the second double crochet. You want to go into that top part right there. Okay. Pull through and pull through for a slip stitch. That completes round 1. So now we're going to flip, and we're going to work back across this way so that we don't have to cut the blue or the gray. So now we're over on this side, we need to be more in the middle. So I'm keep my yarn in my working hand, and I just go into the big hole, and we're going to do a slip stitch to get us closer to the middle of that hole. And now we start all over again. We need to do chain 3 to build up to this, doing this row. That counts as the first double crochet. Oh my gosh. Did it stop? All right, so now we are going to do our chain 3. 1, 2, 3, and this builds us up to be able to do this next second round. And this round we're going to do 2 double crochets on each side of the chain 2. So this counts as the first one. 2. And now we're going to double crochet in the top of the 3 double crochets from the previous round. 1, 2, and 3. Now we're going to look at this next hole, and we're going to do this mirror image of the same thing we did over here. So 2 more double crochets in this hole, which is where the chain 2 is from the previous row. Now we're going to chain 2, and that turns us, so now we can work across this side. 2 double crochets into the hole. Whoops. Let's do that again. So recap. We slip stitched into the center of the chain 2 from the previous row, chained 3, counts as your first double crochet, did a second double crochet into the chain from the previous row, 3 double crochets into the previous 3 double crochets, 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets into the second chain 2 space from the previous row. And now we're going to do 3 double crochets across the previous 3 double crochets. And now we need to do half of that on this side that we did over here. So we're going to do 2 double crochets, chain 2. And now you can see the Gray Days main color is right there for us to use. So we drop the contrasting color, pick up the Gray Days, and slip it, stitch it, tug the contrasting color so it's nice and secure. You'll have, you know, the working yarn right there. And we're going to complete it, this turn, by doing the 2 double crochets. All right, so now we're going to do 3 double crochets across the previous 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. And you probably guessed it, 2 double crochets into the hole. Chain 2, 2 double crochets. So we did the 2, 2, and 2. So now we're going to work our last 3 double crochets in the previous double crochets. And technically the third one is that chain, and you're just going to go right into that hole right there. If you don't have that hole, that means you slip stitched into the actual double crochet, which was actually the second one. So you did this over too far. So now we need to complete this corner. So here's our original chain and double crochet. So we need to do 2 double crochets in this hole. Woo. Okay, and then we need to chain 2 in order to have that turn look correctly to get the holes. And again, you don't want to slip stitch into this hole because that is the actual double crochet right there. You want to slip stitch into the actual chain. If you're not comfortable doing that, it's perfectly fine just to go in between the 2 of them and slip stitch there. But I like to count 1, 2, and 3, so it's right here. That you go into, slip stitch. So yay, round 2 complete. So now we're still going to work the Gray Days, so we need to turn our work. We need to slip stitch into the center of that hole so that we can do the left side first, and then when we come around, we'll finish it off with the blue. So again, chain 3, 1 double crochet to make 2, and then if you think about it, we should have 7 going across the middle instead of 3, because it's the 3, the 2, and the 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and 1 more for 7. Okay, so now we need to do our corner. 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets, whoop. Try that again. Finish it off with 2 double crochets. So that gives us a really nice turn. All right, so now we work across the 7. Okay, and now we need to do half in the gray, half in the blue for this corner. So 2 double crochets, chain 2, and then drop the gray, put it behind, and there's the blue to pick up. You need to slip stitch it in first, tug on the gray to make it a little tighter, and then finish it off with the 2 double crochets in the blue. And then work across the 7. Try to make sure my balls don't fly everywhere, so I apologize for the constant readjusting. All right, so that should be the 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, so we do our turn in the hole, 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 double crochets. And then we're going to work the next side, our last side. Three, 4, 5, there's 6, and again 7 is where the slip stitch is. Okay, and we need to do the second half of this turn. So 1 and 2 into that hole and the chain 2, and then we connect again, not into the full double crochet, it's right next to it. So in through that V stitch right there, okay? And it's catching this and that thread. See the V? Right there. Now we get to turn to do the next and final row. So turn, slip stitch into the center, chain 3 to get us built up. Do our second double crochet, and now this is going to be 11 across here. Sorry, in the way. Don't mind my cutting mat. All right, finish it off. One more, right into this last one. And then we need to turn. You guessed it, 2 double crochets. Uno and dos. Chain 2 for the corner, and then to start this row, 2 double crochets in that circle. Beautiful corner. And then we're gonna work our 11 stitches across here. I don't know if I mentioned it is with an eye hook to get my tension correctly. I believe that's also what the pattern calls for. I block these blocks at 4.5 inches. And I will figure out what it is per inch, how many stitches I get per inch, so that you guys can be on the same page so that you don't run out of yarn. All right, so I'm to the circle or the hole. So I did my chain 2. My 2 double crochets, and there's my chain 2. Here's the gray right there for me. So that's the last time we're going to use this blue on this block. I'll take my JJB scissors, and again, I'm only leaving myself a little tail. Cut that. And that's done for this round. So here's the gray. Ooh. Loop it over, pull it through, tug the blue in to secure, and then I do my 2 double crochets to finish off that hole. Okay, now we need to do our 11 across this one. I'll have to do measurements too for pre-blocked and after blocking. Maybe that'll help you guys too, to make sure you're on track with my gauge. Okay, there's the 11th one. So now we're working in this hole and doing the turn. Chain 2, goodness gracious, 2 double crochets, then chain 2. 2 more double crochets in the same color because we're finishing off this side with the gray. And then our 11 final stitches here. There's 10, and again, 11th one is right where the slipped stitches from the previous row. Finish off this last corner, 2 double crochets into the chain 2 space or the hole from before. So there's your 2 double crochets, chain 2, and slip stitch into the top of the chain 3. Boom and boom. Okay, and again, I'm only cutting myself a little couple inch tail and wrapping it over. Goodness, wrap over and pull through. tight. There is block number 1. So you'll get 4 more blocks out of this blue, 24 more blocks out of this gray. Give it from this side too. So pre-blocked, let's see. We are at 1, 2, 3, 4, and just under a half. So when I block it, I stretch it out just slightly to be that 4.5 inch block. There you go. I hope this helps. Message any questions, and good luck.